back at it again, baby, and we have another one with Milton Friedman. Let's dive in.
I think it is a disgrace and a scandal that we have not had a legislation which has adjusted the income tax system so that inflation does not automatically raise rates. Congress has been very quick to index its own salaries. Congress has been very quick to index the salaries of government employees, but it has been very reluctant to apply the same principle to the taxes that it imposes on the citizen. I must say myself, I would go the other way. I would like to see the taxes indexed, and with respect to the salaries of Congress and of government officials, I would index them perversely. Every 5% inflation is a 5% reduction in their salary. And I assure you, if you did that, you'd cure inflation real fast.
That's a very interesting idea. I kind of like it. Every 5% increase in inflation, 5% reduction in salary, because it gives them a reason that's right in their face to get it done. All right, well, 10% inflation, all right, 10% of your salary gone. Matter of fact, maybe even double. Whatever the inflation rate is, you lose double that in salary. Double that percentage in salary. So 5% is 10%, 10% is 20%, 20% is 40%, and so forth. But also you have, a lot of corrupt politicians who get rich off of other ways as well. Because politicians, if you look at those salaries, there's no way a politician would be as wealthy as some of these politicians out here. All right. I got a lot of questions for people like Ms. Nancy. How'd you get so much money? And I'm just asking, maybe you hit it big in the stock market. I need to know your secrets. I mean, let me know something. But I got a feeling there's something behind the wall that they don't want us to see. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section.
One more general point. What if we don't cure inflation? We have no good choices. If we don't cure inflation, if we continue at high rates of inflation, we'll also have high unemployment. And one of the main reasons is because of the false cures that will be attempted. In every country that has had great inflation, the governments have resorted sooner or later to wage and price controls, supposedly as an attempt to cure inflation.
And we've already been hearing about our government talking about that. Oh, well, we gotta penalize these companies because they're charging too much for their products. We gotta stop them. Sheesh, we're watching it happen before our eyes.
Supposedly as an attempt to cure inflation. We did that in this country in 1971 with disastrous results. Wage and price controls are not a cure for inflation. In fact, wage and price controls, you will find, are imposed by governments that want to inflate, but want to conceal it from the populace. Governments want to get a short-term benefit by pumping up the economy, but they want the populace to think they're doing something about inflation. So they announce with great fanfare that they're fixing prices and wages. But the result is only to hold down, to conceal the inflation for a year or two and then have it blow up, which is, of course, exactly what happened after 1971. In light of this background, I come to the final point I want to make. I think it's very instructive to look at recent U.S. history. Our inflation really started in the post-war period in the 1950s. In the 1950s, we first had a very substantial inflation during the Korean War, and then after that was over, we had a creeping inflation. It was an accident that 1950s inflation didn't continue and grow from that point on. But we had a political accident. We had a non-political president who was willing to risk the election of his vice president in order to stop the inflation. Mr. Eisenhower was willing to take the unpopular measures that stopped inflation, that put us back on a non-inflationary source, by approving measures that led to a series of recessions in 1958 and then in 1960, by holding down government spending, holding down government money creation, so that from an inflation rate, which at that time was regarded as terrible of 3.5%, it was brought back to essentially zero. Our real inflation started in the early 1960s, when John F. Kennedy inherited this windfall of a non-inflationary environment as a result of President Eisenhower's policies. And from 1960 on, we have been on a roller coaster. We have been going up in inflation, we have been coming down. We've been going up, and we've been coming down. Every time we go up, there's a great outcry, we have to do something about stopping inflation. And so we tend to step on the brakes. That tends to produce a downturn. But the moment unemployment starts going up, there's an even bigger outcry. We have to do something about the unemployment. So we reverse and step on the accelerator instead of the brake, and we're off again. But this roller coaster is around an upward level. It's not been on the level. Each peak has been higher than the preceding peak. Each trough has been higher than the preceding trough. I am afraid.
Makes sense, considering what kind of crap hole we're in now. Holy. It's just been worse and worse as we've gone on. And, yeah, we're seeing some crazy things happening right now. And no sight of it ending. Which is another thing, it's been so bad recently, and there have been no true fixes announced or put forth. I almost think it's intentional, like it's intentionally being done to like bring this nation to its knees. I know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am not big into conspiracy theories. This is just what I've put together after watching all of this and listening to all of these speeches and things and looking at how the economy is. And let me know how y'all feeling about it in the comment section. I could be totally wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that it's not something that's being done intentionally. I hope that it's just idiots at the wheel, just don't know what they're doing. I hope that is the case, and it's not, some evil at work. But y'all let me know in the comment section. Please talk to me.
That we shall have to go through several more of these swings in the roller coaster before the American people decide that they have had enough of it, and that it's time to bring it to an end, that it's time to send an unmistakable message to Washington: we want you to stop the roller coaster. When we do, there is no technical difficulty about stopping it. Let me emphasize, it will not be costless to stop it, but it will not be costless to continue what we're doing. If you're sick, it's very, very seldom that a doctor can give you a cure which will enable you to rise from your bed the next day, a whole person, completely unaffected by your illness. We have a disease called inflation. Fortunately, our basic constitution is strong. This is a strong, healthy country, although we've been doing our best to make it unhealthy. We've been doing our best to take measures that will reduce our productivity. But nonetheless, we're still a pretty strong, healthy country. And there's nothing basically wrong with us. But we have been suffering from a self-imposed disease of inflation. Sooner or later, I am sure we will get up the will to cure it. But we shall not cure it or continue it without paying a price either way.
All right, we got a second video. I'm gonna put make two videos into one.
Yes, sir.
In a recent interview of U.S. News and World Report, Secretary of the Treasury Blumenthal blamed our current rising inflation in a large part on our foreign trade and unions. He did, however, say that the government was little to blame. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes? Unfortunately, it is one of the defects of our political system that we always put a Secretary of the Treasury and other high government officials into a position in which, when they make public statements, they are almost driven. Well, what's the word I want to use? I want to use a polite word, equivocate. Secretary Blumenthal knows as well as you and I do that inflation does not come from trade unions. That doesn't mean that trade unions aren't grasping. Of course they are. But they don't produce inflation for one simple reason. They do not own a printing press on which you can turn out green pieces of paper. The only such printing press is in Washington. I say printing press, of course, in the modern age we do it in a more sophisticated way. We use bookkeepers and accountants and computers. But it comes down to the same thing. Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money. And any other attribution to other groups of inflation is wrong. Consumers don't produce it. Producers don't produce it.
I wish I could produce money. If anybody ever figures out how to grow a money tree, let me know. I will be a huge investor into your company. I'll buy a whole lot. You know, please let me know first. I want to test it out to make sure, you know, it's a safe idea. You know, before we go to market. You know what I mean?
The trade unions don't produce it. Foreign sheiks don't produce it. Oil imports don't produce it. What produces it is too much government spending and too much government creation of money and nothing else. Yes, sir. Before you clap, let me point out that the reason why we have too much printed spending and too much printing of money is because you people want it. You and I. We're citizens. We run this country. If Congress has been voting higher and higher spending, why? Because it has been politically profitable for them to do it. If they have been voting higher spending and not voting the higher taxes to pay for it, why? Because it's been politically profitable to do it. We would all like to get something for nothing. And so the political process has been leading to Congress increasing spending, not increasing taxes, and financing the difference by the hidden tax of inflation. I think we are unwise. But let's not blame the others. The problem, you know, in that famous statement of the cartoonist, we have met the enemy and they is us.
What cartoon was he talking about right there? We have met the enemy, and the enemy is us.
Of the cartoonist, we have met the enemy, and they is us.
And they is us. We have met the enemy, and they is us. But Milton Friedman, great man, another gentleman who should be taught in every classroom, spoken about in every classroom. I don't recall even hearing his name when I was younger in any classrooms. And this guy is a very brilliant individual. And I think our society as a whole would benefit from hearing his lectures. And yeah, it's interesting that guys like this and Thomas Sowell aren't put in the classrooms and aren't taught in classrooms. Not even the names I can recall ever being mentioned. Just not even the names of these guys being mentioned, which is very interesting to me. But yeah, I guess it's up to us to make sure that we teach the youth about these great gentlemen. But anyway, y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. It's right up over there. Click that thing to subscribe. And after you do that, check out that video too. You might like it. Peace and love. I'm out.